All right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Tim Gray, for being with us today to talk about this move of the Augustin Institute to St. Louis. So, as someone who was born in St. Louis, who's from Missouri, I'm very excited for this because I know of the great work of the Augustin Institute and how formative it is and how true to the church it is and its teaching. So I'm very excited. Could you speak a little bit about the reasons for the move? Like what are the main reasons for moving from Denver to St. Louis?
Yeah, the this move is really unexpected. I'll just say, quite frankly, because you know, last year, 7 months ago, I never thought we were going to move to Denver, and this opportunity came up at the end of the last year's calendar year, and it really got serious and the end of, I guess in January, really looking at this possibility. And what happened was some of the key leaders of the Archdiocese of St. Louis approached us and said, "Hey, there's this really special property that's for sale. It's a little bit under the radar screen. We think it could be a phenomenal place for a Catholic organization, for the church, and maybe the Augustin Institute would be interested." And interestingly enough, we're 19 years since our founding in 2005, and we are in a wonderful building in the Denver Tech Center, nondescript building, not beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside. Great mountain views, which I'm looking at right now. And but we were filling up this building, and we've been growing quite a bit. So we're kind of bursting at the seams. And so this campus that came on the market kind of quietly was really a great opportunity for us. It was an exceptional campus that allowed us to grow in a lot of ways that we're not able to grow here in Denver. Our chapel's too small, our library space is too small. We don't have student housing for our on-campus graduate students. And just in general, we filled up the building. So this was an opportunity for us to grow in a new way, and also to kind of think about, I guess the other part of this, Nick, was that we just felt it was God's call, because it really opens up some new doors for the Augustin Institute in terms of our mission.
Okay. Yeah, I know St. Louis is kind of a central location in the United States. Like the last 2 years, the Sikh conference has been in St. Louis. It's like a good location for people from all over the country to come to. Is that strategic position part of your plan? Like, is the Augustin Institute going to offer things like conferences, retreats for people around the nation to come to in those facilities?
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, St. Louis, as you know from being native, is central. It's the gateway. And depending on which direction you go, it could be the gateway east or the gateway west, but it's at the heart of the Midwest. And in our research, we looked and we said, how many Catholics live a day's drive from Denver, where we're at right now? And it was about 2.8 million. And then we said, how many Catholics live a day's drive from St. Louis? And it was about 20 million. So it was a really big difference. Now, that location was a big thing. And I guess, we hadn't been actively at all looking for a new campus or new place, but we had other opportunities. And so people had offered up properties and different things, but they were all in out of the way places, not near a major airport, not near a major city. We have a lot of graduate students, and we want to put them in a lot of parishes and schools for their internships. And so some of those properties were in really rural places that were nice, but they didn't fit our mission, right? And so St. Louis, actually, as this opportunity came to us, we then said, okay, does this fit what we need? And we're like, wow, it does check a lot of boxes for us. The location was great. We're going to be 18 minutes from the airport, right off of, Highway 70, major intersection for the highway for the country. So yeah, we were at a great crossroads in St. Louis. And so it fit perfectly. And then of course, as you mentioned, we look at this campus because it has a lot of residence housing on it. We can host conferences now. We can host retreats on an ongoing basis. And so being in such a great location, and then being able to have a campus that can accommodate a lot of visitors and a lot of guests really makes it a perfect match for us.
Nice. Um, so I saw the images of the building, and it looks really amazing. Um, it can hold over 200 people, or how many? Like a lot, lots of people.
Yeah, there's over 200 guest rooms, and those rooms all have their own private bath or executive suites, basically, that Boeing had for its executive leaders. So they're really well appointed, beautiful rooms uh, that all have a view of the, overlooking the bluffs over the Missouri River. So it's really spectacular views. So yeah,
Okay.
so we'll host a lot of conferences, retreats, and events.
Yeah. Um, and what about like a collaboration or work with the archdiocese? Is there going to be some kind of, because that's what I'm excited about, is like this really good school of theology is right there in St. Louis. I'm sure a lot of local people will maybe, like when you were in Denver, how did you impact the local community, and how do you foresee that also happening in St. Louis? Like, how does the Augustin Institute serve the local diocese? And
Yeah, we see that we're kind of like 11, and we're distinct from the Archdiocese of Denver here, just like we will be in St. Louis as a separate 501c3 organization. But our mission, we have our graduate school, then we have our parish programs, our school curriculum, and so we, just like here in Denver, a lot of parishes adopted our school curriculum or our parish programming, like Forum platform, and then a lot of them then hired a lot of our graduates, and so we have slowly transformed a lot of the Catholic schools here in Denver by seeding those schools with a lot of our graduates. And so we've seen some of our graduates turn around Catholic schools that were dying and now make them with waiting lists, right? I expect that same thing will happen in St. Louis, where we will immediately start placing a lot of our students internships. We just started a master's in Catholic education this semester. So we'll need to place a lot of those students in parishes and in Catholic schools and internships. And then a lot of those parishes and schools will want to hire our grads. And then that'll just be kind of like a 11 that will, slowly build up and go through a lot of the parishes. And then being able to do ongoing training for Catholic school teachers. That's something that we've already talked. The Archdiocese is interested in us helping them do adult faith formation programming for the Archdiocese of St. Louis. So we're looking into how we can cooperate and work with the Archdiocese to do that, to do training for Catholic school teachers. So I think there's going to be a lot of intersection between the Archdiocese of St. Louis and the Augustin student. We want to serve the church. That's our mission, and we look forward to doing that.
awesome. Well, I know all of you that have been working there at the Augustin Institute in Denver, this probably means a move for your families to St. Louis, and think like how on a personal level are you feeling about that, like moving to another city? Like, yeah, that's not easy, I guess.
Yeah, it's not easy. So, gosh, we've got 150 employees, and so we're going to move on in a couple of phases this summer and next spring and summer. And I think we'll have 40, 50 people moving out this summer. And I'll be one of those families. So I just put a contract down on a house in St. Louis, and I'll be moving out in August. And I think for all of us, I know for myself personally, it's hard. It's a big change. I've been in Denver for 22 years. I love Colorado, and I had family here. I had a lot of friends, and so I think. But for all of us, we love the mountains, but we love the mission, right? And we love the mission for Christ more than we actually love the mountains. And so I think, Christ calls, and this was the way all this unfolded. It was really clear that this was God's providence and what He wanted from us. And so, there's a sadness of saying goodbye to friends and family and beautiful places that we love, but we also know that whenever you follow Christ, there's He's going to bless that in the end. And we'll see what He has in store. But so yeah, there's mixed emotions. It's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably hard, but also exciting for something new. And I read that you're planning to open classes in St. Louis in the fall, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's really ambitious, and I know my team thought I was a little crazy to make that goal, but this campus is so spectacular. It's 286 acres. on the highest land in all of St. Louis County. Um, 5 miles of nature trails. It's so beautiful, these beautiful buildings, facilities. And I just didn't want it to sit idle for even a semester. It's just so beautiful and such a gift from God. And so we want to make use of that beautiful gift right away. And so we'll start with the graduate school this September.
Awesome. So do students live there on campus? Like your graduate students,
Yep.
they'll live full time. Okay.
We'll live right on campus. There's 4 beautiful residence towers, buildings. So it's kind of like four luxury hotels on the campus, so to speak, right? So our graduate students will be living right on the campus. And Boeing, that had this as their training and leadership campus, they had a great design. And so a lot of these new buildings, it's about 7 buildings or so, that are all connected by one main artery, all enclosed. And so we call it, they called it the spline, but we've renamed that roadway that's interior the Cardo. There's a road that goes to Old Jerusalem called the Cardo. So we renamed that connecting road the Cardo, but it's great facilities. So our students will live there, and it'll be a great community. And then we'll have retreats and conferences, and there's a gorgeous, spectacular dining hall that overlooks the Missouri River. So it'll be a great place for Catholic fellowship and community.
Awesome. Are you going to open up the facilities for outside organizations to like rent it or something? Or how would that work if like another Catholic organization wants to come there, or is that an option? Or?
Yeah, there'll be an opportunity for that. It has to be a Catholic organization. So we'll restrict it just to Catholic groups. And we know there'll be a lot of demands. We're trying to kind of gear up and figure out how we're going to prioritize and do that. We have a lot of Catholic groups that we work with just from our forum platform that we have good relationships with, and so some of them have already reached out to us, and we know them well, and so that's going to work well for several of those groups. And so we'll let Catholic groups use it for Catholic retreats and conferences and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time for telling us about this new move. I wanted to give Daryl or Daniel, if you have any questions for Dr. Gray about this move.
Hey, Dr. Gray. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat. I missed. I'm sure you talked about what was the point of connection as far as having this property offered to you, just basically the move to St. Louis. What was the connection point there for it? Was it somebody at the Archdiocese or what? Just curious.
That's right. It was the genesis of this was a couple of people at the Archdiocese of St. Louis knew that this property was for sale. It was kind of it was public but not very public. Boeing tries to keep things kind of quiet. And they've got enough attention, I guess, that they want more than enough attention, and they don't want more. So anyhow, it was a couple of people like Brian Miller, who's at the Archdiocese of St. Louis, who was one of our alumni, and a couple other people he works with, reached out to us and said, "Hey, this is a great opportunity. We think it'd be perfect for the Augustin Institute." And Brian knew that we had kind of filled up our building here in Denver, and it had grown quite a bit, and we were kind of a little bit bursting at the seams, so to speak. We weren't looking. We had thought, maybe 3 years down the road, we have to look at what we're going to do with how we're going to, for our space issues. And I was actually planning the next year to reach out to a couple buildings next to us to see if we would buy an adjacent building. And so, so this was a surprise for us. We checked out the campus, and it was so extraordinary, and we saw that it was going to really magnify our mission in a lot of ways. So we decided that it was clear that this was the Lord calling us, and so that's how it happened. And then it moved quickly. I mean, I was out at, you mentioned the Seek conference. I was out in Seek speaking at the Seek conference the first week of January. Visited the campus that first week of January, and then started negotiating within a couple of weeks, I think 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks after that with Boeing. And we closed in the middle of April.
That's awesome. I understand it was donor funded as well. So like some very generous donors, I guess, contributed. That's amazing. Are you still receiving funds, or have you got it all paid for? Or it's God's great story too. Like I talked with my board chair right at the beginning of this, who happened to be at Seek as well. And we walked the campus and we both said this campus is going to be expensive to maintain. It's 286 acres with about a dozen buildings. And so we said, this is going to be expensive to maintain. We can't take out a loan, and we just, we need to be able to buy this cash. And so we just said, all right, that'll be our fleece to the Lord. If we've got a couple months to raise the cash, and our donors, a bunch of donors, old and new, stepped up. And so we were able to purchase the campus in cash. And then we wanted to build a reserve fund for operating the campus. And so we've raised about half of what we want for that reserve fund. So ideally, we'd like 40 million for that reserve fund. We've got about 20 million. And now we're still doing some fundraising, because now I've got to move 150 people, families, in all of our facilities, which is a big cost to St. Louis. And then we got to do some things like, Boeing never thought of having a chapel or studios. So there's a few things that we need in the new facilities. Some capital, things like that. So there's some fundraising for that we're going to work hard to do this summer to get it funded. But we're blessed to be able to own it free and clear, which will help us. Awesome. Praise God. I'm so happy for this move, and I'm very excited to see the impact that you'll continue to have on the church through the Augustin Institute, specifically for the church anywhere, like in the nation. But I'm excited for St. Louis, the local area. And I'm from Missouri, so I go there. Like, I don't live there now, but I go there often. So I'm excited to attend if you have any conferences, events, retreats. So, and can I ask? I know you're a graduate school. Are you? You might have mentioned it. Do you also offer undergraduate programs?
Just graduate. Yeah. So we're just have the graduate school of theology, and then we do certification for Catholic school teachers and catechists, and then it's just other faith formation programming for that. So.
Okay. Yeah, and you also do formed.org, right? You do formed and okay.
The Formed platform, the Amen app, and then we do Word of Life, which is a religious ed curriculum K-8, which is really exploding for us. We just launched that a couple years ago. So we'll do a lot of curriculum, educational. So everything we do is about education, because our mission is simple: to help Catholics understand, live, share their faith. So if you don't understand it, you're not going to live it. And if you're not living it, you're not going to be compelled to share it. So that's our mission. It's an educational apostolate. And now conferences and retreats, educational conferences, retreats, that fits in within the mission for the Augustin Institute. So we look forward to hosting a lot of great conferences. So
Awesome. Oh, sorry. And it's a central location, so people could come. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's amazing, and we've already started to post jobs, some job openings that we had in St. Louis, and it's amazing. We're getting a lot more applicants in St. Louis, and I think it's because it's so central to so many places. I mean, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Nashville, all these other cities are not far away, and so that's exciting for us. Be more than other things, and I noticed I'm not from St. Louis. I grew up in Northern Illinois, but my parents grew up in Springfield, Illinois. And my dad raised me a St. Louis Cardinal fan. So I see, Nick, you have a red shirt on. So it's kind of the Cardinal red is a big thing in St. Louis, although the team's not playing very well recently. But I was raised a St. Louis Cardinal fan. So and then my happens that my wife's brother is an engineer for Boeing, and he lives 5 minutes from the campus, and he's been there for 30 years. So we've been to Florissant and that area to visit family. So we have, and I have a cousin who works for Boeing in St. Charles. So yeah, it's kind of so we have a couple family connections. So that's nice.
Awesome. So you'll feel right at home, I hope, when you come. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Gray, for your time, and know that I'll be praying for this move, and I hope that I'm very excited for it. Thank you for sharing with us here.
Yeah,
Anything else you want to say before we go?
yeah, no, thank you so much, and thanks to anyone and everyone who's going to pray for our people. It's selling their homes, finding homes to buy. You know, in the St. Louis market, there's not a lot of inventory right now for homes for sale, so it's an anxious time as people are trying to find homes and schools for their kids. And so, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely praying for my staff, my team, who are really being heroic and following the call of God, making a lot of sacrifice. So thanks for the prayers for them, and we look forward to what God has in store for us in this next chapter of the Augustin Institute in St. Louis. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.